Good morning or afternoon or whenever you're watching this. We are looking at Constantine's arch today, and as you learned in class, there are many arches out there. So the first thing you do is you draw 3 arches. Constantine's is one of the few that has 3 arches. So the middle one is taller and then 2 short ones. Then we'll connect those arches. And this would be if you were drawing it on the street and you were quickly moving along. Okay, so now there's a fence around it. And I'm amazed they haven't built a whole building around it to protect it. So the fact that you can get that close to it is pretty amazing. In between each of these arches, I'm going to put a rectangle. And we're going to put the name here. Old drunken rectangle. Remember, it's like it would show up in SpongeBob or The Simpsons or something. Okay, so this is Constantine's arch. And if you were paying attention in class yesterday, you know that he had a major battle and he was truly impressed by how the Christians fought. They would fight to the death, where those who believe in the multiple traditional Roman gods, if they got cornered, they ran away. Okay, our year is 313 AD, Anno Domino, not after death, but Anno Domino, Anno meaning year and Domino meaning God. And these were some of his top guys that he put inside these. Well, he did images of them. They're not in there really. That'd be another culture. Okay, so here are our little sketches of our guys standing in here. And we're not really going to spend a lot of time. They're drawn just like your gladiator or your soldier. You know, they're just little guys. Remember that the hands come down to the middle of the thigh because otherwise you couldn't tie your shoes. So that's proportion. And here is our guy here. And we've got little guys in each one. Don't worry about who they are or what they are, just they're there. Okay, and remember that the Romans liked decorative art columns. And their favorite, of course, was the Corinthian column because that's the fanciest. And they may be the reason we're so fancy. Okay, so we're going to put a column on top of each one of these rectangles. And remember, you can stop this video and catch up as far as your drawing. So I'm going to go not 100 miles an hour, but at least 25. Okay, so here are our arches. And I like to use a straight edge when I can. Remember, you can use the edge of a book. You don't have to use a ruler. Okay, now we're going to go up on the side here because these columns do not hold anything up. They're just there for pretty. And we have a side on each side. It's straight up and down. And as you know from class, the Colosseum is right behind this. Now, in order to show depth, we're going to come through the middle and make an oblique angle. Come through the middle, make an oblique angle. Come through the middle, slightly to one side really. And then you're going to color this in dark to show that it's shaded. There are all sorts of decorations in here, but we're not going to worry about that because remember, we're just doing a sketch. And with the exception of the one in Columbus, most arches throughout the world are triumphal arches. That means, we won. Okay, so we're going to put a base at each of these, and it just looks like somebody put a dish at the bottom or sat on a basketball and let the air out. Okay, And the top, we'll put another little dish, and then we'll put the Corinthian column on top. Remember I told you Corinthian, corn, think plant, because it's an acanthus leaf. Okay, so we're going to draw. Bing, bing. There go the church bells. Okay, so just make some squiggles for some, that looks like vegetation. This is our acanthus leaves. No, it's not fancy. Here comes SpongeBob's artist again. Okay? And we're going to put fluting on the column. This has nothing to do with making music. It's just lines that they like to make it even more complicated and purty. You like that, huh?
Make it fancy.
Yeah, they made it fancy. Fancy pantsy. Okay. Oh, got to flute my last one. Doo-doo-doo. Okay. So here's the fluting on the last one. All right. Now, each of these got a line across, and I'm going to draw that line across. Up here, they're just figures with spears. So the only thing that you really need to make is the spear, and then you do the person as kind of just hanging on there. It's the person. This is, by the way, there's a term for this. It's gesture drawing, and it's just here. That's what they were doing kind of thing. I'm going to put another line there. I call these echo lines. They really liked echo lines. They liked echo carving, you know. Is there a line above? It would help if I got it straight. Never mind, it's there. And then we have some over here. Oh, better put in my keystones. The keystone is here. It's on the top. And even though these are decorative keystones, remember the arch is the strongest thing that they have. We're going to put lines across. Oh, good, the dog found water. Okay, squirrel. All right, so we're going to put lines across those. And there is a line, a double line, an echo line across those. Okay. Now on these two sides, they have what I call medallions. I don't know if that's what they're really called, but that's what we're going to call them. And these medallions do have echo lines, so they're just two circles like this. And they appear to show parts of the battle. Probably key points in the battle, knowing the Romans. So we got two medallions on each side, and then just put some squiggles in there for whatever's happening in that battle. And if you look up Constantine online, they'll talk about that battle if you're hot into battles. I'm not, but obviously Constantine was. Yeah, he says, and then they have this little shelf here, which kind of lines up with this. And that goes back. It seems to go back to the other side, so put that in. But we're not really we're gonna make it rough like that. Okay. Then we have a double line here. I have to turn around to look at it, because even though I've done it hundreds of times, I swear to heaven, I always forget what it looks like. All right, it isn't like the Colosseum. I could probably draw that in my sleep. And I will here, because I won't even look. All right, we have a box here. And these probably were key commanders or generals or whatever. And these guys up here were real movers and shakers. So they're slightly bigger. The more important you are, the bigger you are. Now, did Constantine put himself in here? I don't know. You'd have to study it. But we're going to put some squiggles up here to be some of these important guys. Would they be upset if they knew how little I cared? They're decorative, as far as I'm concerned. Then we have a box up here on top of them. And is this going to be exactly like the one we did in class? Probably not. I'm not a Xerox machine. I do not make things exactly the same every time. I just don't. It's easier to do with the Colosseum, but okay. Now we have 4 lines above the medallions. So got an echo line here, and then an echo line here. And then we have, that's right up there. And you can ink this in if you want it to. A lot of you like, I know, clearer things. So if you want to ink it in later, you can. I don't really care. Just so you color it. And remember, it's sort of a gray, brown, yellow, whatever you got that's sort of natural colors. And then I put some dentals in here because they had, I'm just going to draw this line here. And remember, the word dental is teeth, and that's why we get dental, or is Latin for teeth, and that's why we have dentists and dental hygienists and all that having to do with dental. But it's also a decorative thing that they used on the front of the Pantheon and all sorts of places. So let's give it some hoopla here. Lots of hoopla. Hoopla. Okay. Then we have the top up here. Each of these gets a top. Put a top on the top of these. Hey, top the tops. And here. Okay. So we're capping these. Again, it looks like somebody sat on a plate, or we're looking at it from the side, and then come down. Doop, de-doop, de-doop, de-doop. And little lambs, he died. I think I'll move that over there. Okay. Then we have, I got another ruler. This will work. I'm going to go around this one. We have these 2 rectangles on the sides. Gonna move it over. What are those? Beats the heck out of me. I suppose they're key moments in battle. I guess you'd have to be there to know exactly what it is, and aren't you glad you weren't? Because they like to get up close and personal when they fought. So we're going to put some squiggles in here to show whatever key moment that was in battle. And we're going to do that on the other side. So they use spears and swords. That means that they pretty much got in each other's face as they were killing each other. It's just the Roman way. That's why they like their battles in the Colosseum, because then everybody could get up close and personal and see the blood. Yummy. We do it with fake blood in movies, which I think is a little, it's a little better, but it still has kind of a negative thing. I wonder if there were less of that in our society, we would have fewer incidents like we had at the Capitol building, or people harming animals. So we just put some jiggle-jaggle in there. Let's put an echo line. Makes it look more finished, more Italiano. And then we're going to put the line across here. And this has, again, all the battalions, and I think this is them marching in here. Don't know for sure, but just have them lined up like they're marching. How am I doing?
Oh, yeah, 14 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Like 6 more minutes.
Okay, and all this down here is the actual battle with little guys, and this would be you and me. This would be where we would be stuck fighting. Okay, behind that is the Colosseum. I'm going to sketch it in real quick. You don't have to spend a lot of time on it. Just give it the arches. Give the arch some depth. Here's one right here. We don't need about to see because maybe we'll see part of it right there. And then over here is another one. And they get thinner as they move away from you. And we have a double band. And that's I think they had gods and goddesses because there was nowhere to get down from there. So there are probably gods and goddesses standing in there. Don't know. As I said, I wasn't there. I know I seem like I should have been, but no, I wasn't there. I would have been horrified anyway. I would have tried to rescue all the animals. Okay, so we have an arch here. And we'll have an arch here. That's good enough. Okay, this is in Rome. In what is now Italy. It was not called Italy then. It was just called Rome. The city was under siege constantly. Let me darken that in. Okay. All right. So let me pull this up here too. And the whole thing had depth, so we'll give it depth like that. I'm not going to really draw the side of it. And every major city, including Columbus, Ohio, has an arch. Ours is in, wait for it, Arch Park. I would say ours is more like a loss than a triumphal arch.
Arch Park.
Yeah. It came out of the old train station, which they tore down at 2 a.m. because they weren't supposed to. So they saved one of the arches and put it in a park. So I would not call it a triumphal arch. I'd call it more like, oops. You have to watch those builder people. Okay, so here's your Arch of Constantine. At this point, he has changed his opinion of Christians. They fought like really hard. So he investigated Christianity. And in our next little sketch here, we're going to look at how he adopted Christianity and made all of Rome Christian, because he needed them to be fighting guys and to fight to the death and to the depth. I don't know. He had to move the capital though. It was a rough time. All their water supplies were broken. The Visigoths and the Vandals and such went and broke the aqueducts, which brought water to the city. And, this was a huge city in ancient times, millions of people, and then not so much. Okay,